Today we're talking about digital sovereignty and why more UK organizations are taking back control. Now, let's start with a simple question because this isn't another webinar about storage, cloud, or infrastructure. So, if we're honest, nobody really wakes up in the morning thinking, oh, I really hope somebody sells me some more storage today. What they do think about, or what they're more concerned is, who has access to their data? What happens if regulations change? You know, do you actually know who has access to your data? So not who should have access, but actually who actually has access. Because in today's world, data doesn't just sit quietly in a server somewhere. It moves, it gets processed, gets replicated, backed up, transferred across borders, and also in some cases, um, it can become subject to laws you probably never even heard of. So what happens is most organizations assume they're in control of their data, but the uncomfortable reality, many aren't. Uh, and that's why the conversation around digital sovereignty has moved from an IT discussion pretty much to a boardroom discussion. So let's get to the point. What is digital sovereignty? So, I mean, it sounds like one of those terms consultants invented just to justify a PowerPoint deck, but it's actually very simple. It's it's an organization's ability to maintain control over its data, its digital infrastructure, its technology platforms, its operational decisions. So again, who's in control? Who controls your digital future? Now, if the answer is someone else, you got a problem. A sovereign digital environment gives organizations confidence that their data remains under UK jurisdiction. They decide who can access systems. Um, they control how data is processed. They're also less exposed to foreign laws and um, geopolitical geopolitical uncertainty. So this is where it becomes um, all this sensitive information. Trust us isn't really a strategy. So what we can do now, why it matters even more. Now it matters more now because if you think about it, just a few years ago, organizations were mainly focused on moving to the cloud, reducing infrastructure costs, improving flexibility. The conversation has changed, and pretty much everybody's noticed this change. Now, today, I've been speaking with a lot of people, and everybody's asking, where is our data? Who can access it? Which laws apply to it? And also, what happens if relationships between governments change? Now, those aren't hypothetical questions anymore. They're real business risks. In fact, many UK technology leaders remain concerned about foreign influence over critical data and infrastructure, while confidence in large international cloud providers is far from universal. Especially in the cloud era, the question again is no longer where your data is, it's who controls it. Think of it this way: it's a bit like leaving your house keys with someone you've never met and hoping they'll only use them when absolutely necessary. Now, the cloud is brilliant until you need answers. Now, don't get me wrong, cloud technology has transformed how organizations operate. It's scalable, flexible, powerful, but sovereignty isn't about whether cloud is good or bad. It's about understanding whose cloud you're using, where your data lives, and who ultimately has authority over it. Because when sensitive data is involved, the question isn't just can we access our data? It's who else potentially can. And that suddenly becomes a much more interesting conversation. Now, obviously, there's different sectors, there's different pressures where we need to look into. The challenge isn't the same for everyone. Public sector, for example, or councils, government bodies are responsible for highly sensitive citizen information. And obviously, data sovereignty isn't just an IT concern, it's a public trust concern. Healthcare. Well, we all know patient data is among the most sensitive information any organization can hold. Now, when you consider medical records, patient histories, diagnostics, clinical systems, maintaining control becomes absolutely critical. Let's face it. Nobody wants their healthcare data taking an unexpected world tour. Like, there's another sector, financial services, just came in mind. Financial institutions face increasing scrutiny around outsourcing, uh, operational resilience, third party risk, data handling. I mean, especially for the financial services, sovereignty and resilience go hand to hand. So we need to look into that. And again, the UK regulatory reality, as you see from the screen, it's one of the most biggest misconceptions is that the UK has a single piece of legislation called the Digital Sovereignty Act. Well, it doesn't. Instead, organizations need to navigate a combination of UK GDPR, Data Protection Act 2018, Investigatory Powers Act 2016, National Security and Investment Act 2021, sector specific guidance and requirements. So, in another word, if you could just see, it's just not, it isn't one box just to tick. It's something that must be considered across the entire technology estate. And this is which is why many organizations are now reviewing um, where the data is stored, how it is accessed, and whether current cloud strategies generally align with compliance obligations. And let's be honest, the risk of doing nothing is pretty high. Now, a lot of organizations only think about sovereignty once someone asks an awkward question. It usually happens during a compliance review, a security audit, uh, maybe a procurement exercise, a cyber incident. Anyway, but by then, that's where it becomes much harder to answer. And without proper controls, organizations or even businesses can face exposure to foreign legislation, reduced operational control, additional compliance challenges, uncertainty during geopolitical events, administrative access beyond their direct oversight, and suddenly the big question, where is our data? And that becomes the most expensive question in the room. Now, how we can help. So at 101 Data Solutions, we believe organizations should have um, confidence in where their data lives, who controls it, and how it's protected. That's why we give and take a sovereign by design approach. We help organizations through UK hosted, UK controlled infrastructure, where we're keeping this sensitive information under UK jurisdiction and reducing exposure to any foreign access risks. Uh, Sovereign cloud solutions, which is designed specifically for organizations operating within regulated environments, such as like again public sector, healthcare, finance, any critical infrastructure. Um, then we have governance and compliance reviews, which again helping organizations align with UK GDPR, DPA 2018, IPA 2016, NSIA 2021, with all the supporting DPIAs, audits, and risk assessments. And security and resilience assessments, where we identify gaps, we highlight the risks, and we provide a practical roadmap towards a greater digital sovereignty. So, again, for my final thoughts, for years, as I mentioned before, organizations, businesses, they all came to me and said, "Shall we move to cloud?" Today, I would say the question should be, how much control are we willing to give away? Because digital sovereignty isn't about avoiding innovation; it's about ensuring innovation that happens on your terms, not somebody else's. And in a world where data has become um, one of an organization's most valuable assets, maintaining control isn't just an IT decision, it's a business decision, and increasingly, it's a strategic advantage. So please reach out to us. We can give you the proper advice. And I hope you enjoyed it and hope this was helpful. Thank you.